Hello there, I'm the anime Twerp. So I've just seen an anime called Call Me Tonight, and this is a strange title. It's not really strange to anime, but describing it is somehow difficult. Basically, it's an erotic romantic horror comedy. This may sound strange, so I think I need to put it another way. I would say this is what you get if you cross David Cronenberg's body horror movies like The Brood or his version of The Fly with something like a quirky Meg Ryan romantic comedy. Again, this sounds odd, and by rights it shouldn't work at all, but somehow it does. Okay, so about the anime. It's a short direct-to-video release from 1986 by the Anime International Company and a company called C.Moon. It's actually the first part of a video series called Pink Noise, which were a series of 4 separate direct-to-video erotic anime videos. Later, this video was followed by the videos Campus Special Investigator Hikaruan, sorry about the pronunciation, and Evil Dragon Chronicles, only the first volume, and then Body Jack. Anyway, our main character is Natsumi Rumi, the co-owner of a phone sex line, Telephone Communication Madonna. She is forwarded to a male caller who has trouble masturbating, a certain Sugiura Ryo. He says he hears birds and even sees bright lights, and when he wakes up, his clothes are all torn to shreds and his room is all trashed. Intrigued, Rumi agrees to meet with him at a cafe. I'm not sure this is what workers from a phone sex company do, but never mind. It is here that Rumi discovers 2 things. One, that Rio has a hair-trigger libido and gets excited by the slightest thing, be it a dirty magazine, a peep show, sex scenes in a movie, or having his ear breathed on. Second, every time Rio gets turned on, he physically transforms into different kinds of monsters, again and again and again. After some initial shock, Rumi decides to take him on as a project and cure his strange condition. All the while in the background are a couple who witness Ryo's transformation and are now following them, and then there is a biker gang who attempts to complicate things. Now, I know from the description everyone is probably thinking this must be a hentai title, basically anime fetish porn, but it really is not. It is erotic and a couple of nude scenes notwithstanding, I don't think it's porn. Though I guess I feel the need to clarify my use of the word erotic. I do think that many will automatically think that anything erotic and anime means hentai, and I think the hentai label is thrown around way too much, even within the industry itself, to the point that many think it's one and the same. As for me, my interpretation of erotic anime is anime which does feature sexuality and even nudity, but it's not explicit and it's not really the focus of the title. Its focus is on the story and characters as opposed to being arousing or titillating to the viewer. Of course, there are exceptions to this and problematic ones, but we'll get to those titles when we get to them. As an aside, I probably should say also this is not one of those tentacle porn anime either. What's tentacle porn? Well, let's just say that because of Japan's rather odd censorship rules, symbolic substitutes were, and still are, utilized even in actual animated pornography. Like, say, nosebleeds are usually symbolic of guys getting, well, overexcited, shall we say. With tentacles, well, I don't think I need to say anything, really. You do get to see a brief example of this in Call Me Tonight, when Rumi and Ryo run for cover to a cinema showing a sci-fi horror film called Galaxy of Horror. I'll have to forgive the spelling. I'm pretty sure the filmmakers behind The Green Slime, which was a 1968 Japanese-American co-production, Didn't really think their monsters would use those tentacles in quite the same way. All that being said, where does Call Me Tonight stand? For me, I would say it's in the erotic block, and that's despite the fact that it is a story about sex and about getting over sexual problems. Any tentacle action tends to be well behaved, well, in spite of the anime's laserdisc cover. But in all seriousness, I think the thing that really makes Call Me Tonight stand above hentai and other erotica for that matter is that you do actually care about our lead characters. Ryo, outside of his problems, doesn't have much of a character, but he seems likable enough. With Rumi, there's a little more there, and I would just like to say how much I actually really like her character. She's a likable, positive woman, funny, serious, determined. She doesn't back down or scare easily, and takes things in her stride, which fits the purposes of this strange story quite nicely. She is also really supportive and encouraging to Ryo, and I have to admit the image of Rumi dragging Ryo around town, cheerful and bubbly while Ryo's bewildered with his clothes in tatters, is pretty funny. I even appreciate her sexuality as a character. Here we have a sexually confident woman really enjoying her life and her sexuality, and also on top of that she's depicted as a nice and pleasant character. So often sexually liberated and sexually active female characters, in anime yes, but also in fiction in general, are depicted as the antagonists of the story. They are really the vamp trying to get into our hero's pants. Rumi is so pleasant and likable a character, and her sexuality is a part of that, and is something you hardly ever see. It would have been so easy to depict her in a different, negative way as well. Rumi is the co-owner of the sex hotline business, whom the other employees go to for advice, and she is well liked by her colleagues. It would have been so easy to depict Rumi as a cold and short-sighted businesswoman, stepping on others to get ahead, or a threatening nice maiden needing a good male influence. Given this is erotica we are watching, these particular fetishes could so easily have slipped in. Instead of all that, though, Rumi is a positive, likable, and ultimately happy character, and her sexuality and her sexual confidence is a part of that. In fact, her sexuality and her sexual confidence being depicted as a good thing really does make her quite an impressive and actually quite a believable character. Then the anime nearly ruins everything by telling us, at the halfway point, she is also a first-year high school student, placing her at about 16. Yes, we are supposed to buy that she is a 16-year-old high schooler who lies to her mother every day so that she can go to work at a phone sex company, which she also co-owns. And this isn't some little inconsequential detail, it is actually a semi-major plot point that kicks off the second half of the anime. This revelation doesn't quite interfere with the anime too much, but it's there all the same. That's really the only major complaint I have about the anime. Of course, there are little things here and there. I don't imagine working at a phone sex company is as glamorous or fun as it seems to be depicted here. Glamorous is kind of the wrong word, but it's kind of what I mean at the same time. When Rumi kind of seduces Ryo in a crowded cafe, no one seems to say anything. And there seems to be no police or media interest in a man transforming into a monster in public. Still, all these little things are what make Call Me Tonight fun. I suppose the more distracting flaws are more related to the OVA's length. Not that it's a complicated story or anything like that, but there's only so much that a 30-minute OVA can do, and a few things are inevitably left unexplained. Not regarding Ryo's transformations, that is hurriedly explained towards the end, though some more details wouldn't have gone amiss. But there are other things a slightly longer running time would have allowed to be explained. How does Rumi manage her high school life and her career? How is it that someone as young as 16 can be a part owner of a phone sex company? I'm sorry, I'm still harping on that. Why is Rumi more interested in Ryo after finding out about his problem, and how does this develop into an affection for him? When threatened with blackmail and exposure, why does Rumi choose not to meet with her blackmailer? Why is this woman drawn to be so manly? Come to think of it, why is her sister drawn to look nearly feral? Why is it important to drop hints that these girls might belong to a crime family? I'm not expecting to get all the answers to these questions, but a longer running time might have helped things along with a few choice explanations here and there. All that being said, I actually really like Call Me Tonight. There's nothing heavy or revolutionary here unless you're new to anime, and in particular erotic anime. I don't even think the concept of a man who turns into a monster when aroused is all that original a concept. I'm pretty sure there are more than a few trashy horror movies that exploit the idea to some degree or another. The idea is pretty Freudian after all. The art style is nice, certainly of the time, so people used to newer anime may feel a little put off, although that's ironic since the character designer Kumiko Takahashi went on to design the characters for Full Metal Alchemist and Ouran High School Host Club, but it didn't bother me at all. The monster designs by Junichi Watanabe are nicely creative from a man who not highly influential. He did designs for Dangayo, Madara, and Yodoten. The music is typical and inoffensive, and the voice acting is good, particularly by veteran seiyuu Sakiko Tamagawa early in her career, and she also provides the theme song performances here. It does have its minor flaws here and there, plus the aforementioned questions it does not answer due to the video's length, but it does not bring the anime down too much. Could this OVA have been released in English? Oh yeah, I think so. While again, it's not hentai, thanks to the English releases and popularity of, well, shall we say, slightly more intense works like Legend of the Overfiend in the 1990s, did get companies looking for similar work, and the tamer Call Me Tonight could have been picked up. I can imagine a company like Kizeki, a now more or less defunct UK competitor to Manga Entertainment UK, giving it a small, subtitled-only release in the 1990s, on video or DVD. Can it still be given a new English-language release? Well, you're going to hear this from me quite a few times, but I would say why not? It has something of an online following today, so people would appreciate a new release. It's a fun little title if nothing else, and it should be given the chance to reach an audience. And that's about all I wanted to say about Call Me Tonight. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you soon.